Hello friends, I am Yashwant Kumar, welcoming you all on my educational YouTube channel Phenomenal Studies. So today we are going to learn some IGKO tricks based on the crops. So friends, basically there are three kinds of crops that upon which the questions are asked in your examinations, and we are going to deal how the tricks work on these crops. So friends, let's take the example of Kharif first. So you can clearly see that in an alphabetical order Kharif comes before R. So you always have to remember that Kharif crops are shown before Rabi crops and in the initial phases of the crops, like in June. Okay. Now, how will you understand that when was the timing of these crops, like when they are shown? So let's get to the point. You can see that R is in the middle of Kharif and R stands for rain, and rainy season is also known as the monsoon one, which starts from June. Like you all are familiar to the summer vacations, which are on which starts in June and July, in the month of June and July. So this is the trick. Kharif has a middle R in between it, and it is shown in the months of monsoon, which is from June, and it is cutted between the months of November, like in between the months of November. Now, what kind of crops are in Kharif? So there are few crops which ends up with E. You always have to remember it, like the crops which ends up with the letter E. Like you can clearly see rice, maize, sugarcane, pulses and jutes. Pulses are little bit exceptional also, like soybean, arhar and moong. Not all pulses are considered as the Kharif crops, but most of the major examples like rice, maize, sugarcane and jute, which are the Kharif crops, ends up with E. So that's the trick, my friends. Like some major crops which ends up with E are taken as the Kharif crops. And pulses are of both kinds, like you can clearly see here that gram, mustard and peas are, even the gram is also known as the chickpea also. So you don't be confused over it. So these are the pulses exceptional cases. Now let's come to the point, like what is R, Rabi crops. So let's see friends, the letter S directly comes after R. Okay, so you always have to remember that Rabi crops are sown before the summer season. Summer season से पहले होगा, ठीक है? Before the summer season Rabi crops are sown and also cutted. Okay, in the starting initial phases of March, it is cut off. And now let's check the examples, like what are they. So it's a trick also for the Rabi crops, like on for MA. You can remember it in that way, like something admission is on for MA and here on stands for, O stands for October, M stands for November. So it's shown between the months of October and November, and M stands for March and A stands for April, and it is cut in the months of March and April. So that's the trick, my dear. Now let's talk about the crops. So Rabi got price at wb.com. It is the trick which I made. So let's see what kind of crops are in between it. So G for gram, O for oats, T for tomatoes, P for potatoes, W for wheat, B for barley and chickpeas, C for, and O for onion and M for mustards. So these are the major crops. And one more one is the Jaid crops. They are the shortest seasonal fruits, like the melons, which comes in between the starting of the summer season, like watermelon, musk melons and cucumbers, etc. So that's it with the GK tricks with the crops, friends. If you have any sort of doubt, you can ask me in the WhatsApp groups as well as my Facebook profile. Thank you, friends.